Hey YouTube. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lauren and today we are going to be doing my March reading wrap up. Almost forgot what I was saying halfway through that sentence.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
So get a snack, get cozy, and let me tell you about all the books that I read this month. So in the month of March, I was able to read 8 books. Overall, think that I had a pretty good month of reading. So 5 of them were physical books and then 3 were audiobooks. And we'll just go ahead and get started with our physical copies. So the first book that I read in March was Normal People by Sally Rooney. And Normal People is a literary fiction book. Now, this is a very controversial book. People either really love it, me, or really, really hate this book. And to be honest with you, I totally understand why people do not like this book at all. It was incredibly infuriating at times to read. The end is kind of ambiguous a little bit. So let me just tell you what the book is about. Normal People follows 2 teenagers through their adulthood, Marianne and Connell. So Connell is like the popular guy at school. He has a lot of friends. All the girls like him. He's very well liked by his peers, his teachers. He just overall, I think, has the classic peaked in high school kind of experience. Whereas Marianne, she is an outsider. She's a loner and people don't like her. They think she's weird. She also kind of agrees with that sentiment. Like, she is someone who walks to the beat of her own drum and she doesn't really care about what other people think outwardly. I think where the two of them are very similar, they both care very deeply about what other people have to say about them. Both of them take things extremely personally into the heart, and I think that both of them are very insecure. Both of them need therapy. What's really interesting to me about Connell and Marianne's relationship is that Marianne actually is fairly wealthy. Like, she grows up with a lot of money. And usually in stories, we find that the person who is wealthy usually is the popular one. But in this story, it's different. Connell grows up very much middle class, maybe even lower to middle class. How Connell and Marianne even know each other is because Connell's mother actually works for Marianne's family. She's like their housekeeper. So they have this connection. So through the years of Connell's mom working for Marianne's family, the two of them do form a friendship, but it's the kind of friendship that they are only allowed to have in the privacy of Marianne's home while Connell is waiting for his mom to finish her shift. He does not want to talk to her at school, and if they do talk at school, it's like nobody's around, like I'm just sneaking around to talk, and I don't want people to think I'm weird because they see me with you. So it's a very imbalanced relationship in that sort of way. There comes a time where Connell and Marianne share a kiss, and immediately after, Connell is like, well, that was cool, and Marianne's like, yeah, I agree, I really like that. And Connell immediately is like, well, don't tell anybody about this. And Marianne, honestly, she kind of rolls with that. She doesn't mind people not knowing, and she doesn't mind it kind of being their little secret in between them. But of course, things escalate from that first kiss and they start hooking up with each other. And this is where the situationship kind of truly begins. So the main reason why people do not like this book is because this book is the miscommunication trope times 27,000. Like, it's so infuriating to read. There were many times where I wanted to jump off of my balcony. That's so dramatic. But like, I was just so annoyed about these two characters. There's literally a line that says, Connell wished that he could tell Marianne that he liked her, but he didn't. And that's basically the whole book. I know people hate that because there's like, where is the plot? The plot really is Marianne and Connell and their relationship. That is what the story focuses on. I personally think that Normal People is a very real take on modern dating. I am someone who's single, and maybe not all of the aspects of Normal People I've experienced, but I have been in a monstrous boss level, worst experience of my entire life, but also exciting situationship like 3 years ago. And it was very much like this in a lot of ways. A lot of miscommunication. There were a lot of times where we said, hey, I really like you. And the other person would say, hey, I like you too. But they didn't want to commit and like be boyfriend and girlfriend. They were just not fully invested. Like there was, anyways, I'm not trying to be like, I've experienced this life that I was reading, and the way that they react to certain things, I don't know, just the way they communicate. When they do communicate, the way they communicate is very relatable. And I think that's also why people don't like this book, is because it's almost too real. You know what I mean? I know people like this in real life, from their high school self to how they are now as a fully functioning adult. They have not had any type of character or human development at all in any way. In this book too, there isn't a whole lot of character development. You're just watching these people navigate trying to have a relationship with each other, and you're not really sure if you want them together, but you also think, well, they're kind of perfect for each other. I don't know. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was an incredible take on modern dating. I felt it to be very interesting. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It is infuriating. It is annoying, but I think that it's very, very real. So for that, Sally Rooney, I liked your book, and I rated it 4 stars. Okay, so the next book that I read was Ace of Spades by Frieda Abike-Iyimide, and this is a YA thriller, and more specifically, it's an academic thriller. So I've heard about this book for years now, and I've always wanted to read it. So I was able to actually find this book for $5 at my local Ollie's bargain outlet. If you have one nearby, check them out. They have a ton of selections of books, and a lot of times they'll have somewhat new releases too, hardback, paperbacks. Sometimes it's a kind of random assortment of books, but I've been able to get a few of my anticipated reads from there. But anyways, back to the book. Ace of Spades follows 2 main characters, Chiamaka and Devon. Both of these kids are in high school. It's their senior year at this very prestigious private school that I don't remember the name of. Embarrassing. I'll put it on the screen if I can find it. And the trip part is that they are the only 2 black kids in this entire high school. Like, the only 2. Not only students, but faculty, everybody. This story on the flap is described as Gossip Girl, and I definitely agree to that. I would also say it reminded me a lot of Pretty Little Liars as well. Like both Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars, there is a anonymous texture kind of aspect of it, which was really intriguing to be able to read throughout the story. Chiamaka and Devon, they get accepted to, I took it kind of like honor society, if you remember that from high school. They get accepted into this program, and so now they're kind of viewed as the quote-unquote leaders of the school. Right after that ceremony, there is a mass text that comes out, and it gets sent to the entire school. And basically, it is a picture that somebody took of Devon at a party, and he and the school quarterback are getting cozy. So unfortunately, Devon and the quarterback get outed. The next day, the whole school is kind of like, oh my word, because Devon is not a popular kid. He is at the school on scholarship. Nivius. The school's name is Nivius. I just remembered it. Devon is not a popular kid at Nivius. He was actually accepted on a full scholarship. He is wanting to go to Juilliard for college. So he gets outed. The football player gets outed. And so he's at school the next day, and everybody's looking at him like, okay. So Chiamaka is top of the class. She is queen bee, and she's going to do anything, and I mean anything, to keep that title. So she's very much a mean girl. She's a popular girl. And she's also rich, so her parents are paying for this. She's not on scholarship or anything. So the beginning of Chiamaka's downfall is that she goes to a candy store with her friend Jessie, and they're shopping around. So Chiamaka decides she's not going to get any candy, but Jessie does. So they go up to the cash register, and the owner of the store is like, I know you stole. And Chiamaka's like, bro, why would I steal anything in here? I could buy this whole store. Like, be serious. And he's like, no, I know you stole from me. She's like, okay, well, check my pockets then. He checks her pockets, and there's candy in her pockets. So she's like, dude, I did not steal for you. I promise you, like, somebody's trying to set me up. Like, I would never steal. And she gets banned from the store. And the next day, another text comes out that's like, hey, Chiamaka, I don't think Juvie records are going to look good on that Yale application. So she's like, bro, what the heck? So Chiamaka and Devon decide they need to team up to figure out why this is happening to them and only them. And let me tell you, the plot twist of this book was crazy. It was absolutely bonkers. Like, I knew something similar probably was at play, but I didn't realize it was like that. And then after reading it, I was like, I'm giving side eye to everyone I see, because that felt a little too real. That felt a little too likely, especially in this day and age. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the story. It wasn't like life-changing or anything, but I did really, really like it. There were a couple things that I felt were unnecessary to the story, like things that were introduced and then we never got resolution on. I also really didn't believe in the ending. Like, I wish it was a little bit stronger. It fell a little bit flat for me. I did, however, enjoy the epilogue because that kind of answered some questions, but not really. I don't know. Overall, I think I would recommend this book. I did end up rating it 4.25 stars. Okay, so the next book that I read was First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston, and this is a thriller. We follow the main character, who I don't remember her name at all. What was that girl's name? Ooh, I don't remember her name. I really don't remember that girl's name. But basically, we follow this young woman, and she is essentially a spy. And she has been assigned a case, and the case is this guy named Brian, I think. Basically, she's assigned to infiltrate this guy's business because it seems like he's doing kind of shady stuff. And she's kind of I don't even know how to describe this book, to be honest with you. If you're wondering, I did rate it 3.5 stars. But it reminded me a lot of like Ocean's 11 in the sense of, okay, we have an overall goal here that we're trying to crack into, and we're sneaking around. I really wish I could tell you what this book was about, but I really don't remember. So I guess it wasn't that impactful. Would I recommend it to you? Maybe. Obviously, I don't remember that much about it, but I did remember being like, oh, okay, cool. Dang, what was this book about, bro? Of course, she's also trying not to fall in love with him, like for real, because she is dating him under a fake identity as well. That's a point that I just remembered right now. There's like a boss that she reports to. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that book. It wasn't horrible. It also wasn't incredible either. So take that for what you will, I guess. Okay, so the next book that I read in March was The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah. This was a 5-star read. I love anything that Kristin Hannah writes, and I have only read 2 books by her, but both of them I love, and both of them I rated 5 stars. So I mean, come on. So The Nightingale is about 2 sisters and their experiences during World War II in France. France was under direct German occupation in June of 1941, I believe, until the end of the war. This book was absolutely incredible. So our 2 sisters are Vianne and Isabel. Both of them are very different, but at their core, their goal is to survive the war. Their goal is to hopefully make a difference in the war. Oh man, this book was such an emotional roller coaster. I was sobbing. I was distraught. I was disgusted. I was stressed. I was every emotion I think you could be during a story about World War II. I loved this book. Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to put into words. It was everything that I was expecting. I was not disappointed in any way. In true Kristin Hannah fashion, I cried from the beginning to the very end of this book. And of course, the end was like, girl, you could have just ran over my dog, and I think this would have hurt less. Kristin Hannah's pen game and making you sob and question your existence it needs to be studied. It needs to be studied. I will say that a lot of people who don't like this book, I think, are reading it with a historian brain. And this is more so just day-to-day life. It's not meant to be a textbook. With that being said, there were elements of the story where I was like, okay, that's a little probably fictionalized. But again, it's fiction. Like, it's not supposed to be taken super seriously. It's a book. Just enjoy it or don't enjoy it. You know what I mean? This is a book about grief, survival, loss, love, and the strength of women, and how, especially during war times, all of the men go off just about, right? Unless they're like sick or they're too young. But how these communities really were able to band together to face the unknown. And I think it's just a really beautiful story of resilience and women's resilience, to be specific. I really, really love this story. I cannot wait to read more Kristin Hannah books. I feel like she's going to be one of my top favorite authors for sure. She does historical fiction so well. I actually am on hold right now for The Women by her, which I'll talk about a little bit more at the end of the video. My April picks. Totally recommend this book. 5 stars. Get tissues. And don't be like me and read the book at work, like the end of the book at work, because you will literally have to just take a 15-minute break to regulate your emotions so you could finish the workday. Yeah. Also, I read this book as a vlog and it's out now. I'll link it at the top so you can watch that. That way you can kind of see all of my reactions and my thoughts in real time. This is a 5-star read and my second 5-star Kristin Hannah book. Okay, the last physical book that I read for March was Project Hail Mary. Oh my God. Project Hail Mary is one of the best books I've ever read. Ever. Like, it's probably gonna be in my top 5 of all time. I'm putting it in my top 5 of all time. And I don't even know what that list consists of as well. But yeah, for sure. I can't even formulate. Project Hail Mary is a sci-fi. And it's also speculative fiction, I think, too, because some of the elements in it. Basically, this is a story about a guy named Ryland Grace, and he wakes up aboard the ship Hail Mary, except for the fact that he does not know that yet, and he doesn't even know his own name, and he also doesn't know that he has to save all of humanity. Like, all of humanity, the human existence as we know it. This book is about a space phenomenon. The sun basically isn't outputting as much energy as it normally does, and in turn is cooling the earth so much that we're going to be in an ice age. And not only that, there's something actually blocking the sun, which means that without the sun we don't have plants, without plants we don't have animals, without animals we don't have humans, and the earth is just going to be like every other planet and seem desolate. This book was a mix of Interstellar, which is in my top 3 movies of all time, and Castaway. The math and the science behind this novel is very reminiscent to Interstellar. Space travel is very reminiscent to Interstellar. And since Ryland is the only character we hear the most of in this book, he's kind of the only character for probably, I don't know, 70% of this book. The influences of Castaway, I think, are there as well. And just like those are great movies, this was a phenomenal book. I personally listened to this as the audiobook and read along with my physical copy. I highly recommend that method. This is science fiction, and I also will say it's very, very dense in the math and the overall storytelling. There's full paragraphs of him going through how he's calculating the velocity he needs to travel through space, and I can't even begin to explain that to you. Another thing I'll say is it's very millennial coded. Like, the humor in it just gives a millennial, which can be sometimes really goofy and lighthearted, and I did really enjoy that part about the book. I was laughing, I was stressed out, I was annoyed, I was intrigued, I was hopeful. I felt a lot of different emotions reading this book, and I cannot recommend this book enough. I don't think I'll ever stop thinking about this book. This was mind altering. I loved this book. This is a 6-star book for me. I cannot think of a singular bad thing to say about this book. The audiobook in itself is 6 stars. So good. If you read this story, please, I beg of you, listen to the audiobook via Audible. I think it's an Audible exclusive. And honestly, I think that it's worth the money. If you buy it, if you use a credit, if you have Prime, you have to listen to this book. I think it helps add to the story so much. I love this book. Okay, so let's get into the audiobooks that I listened to in March. The first one being My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. Now, this was marketed to me personally as a thriller. This was the least thrilling book I've ever read in my entire life. When I looked up the book for my reviews, it's actually described as literary fiction / thriller, which I think is more accurate to the book itself. I wish that I knew it was going to be more literary fiction versus thriller because when you're expecting a specific genre, there are certain formulas in your head that you're looking for. And when a book doesn't deliver that, you're kind of disappointed with it. And that's how I feel about this book. Like, I was expecting a thriller. I got literary fiction. And I was like, what the heck? This is not thrilling at all. Had I been marketed this book correctly, I think I would have rated it maybe a half to a full point higher. I did end up rating this 3 stars. And also, 3 stars does not mean the book was bad. It just means it was okay. Like, I enjoyed it, but it's not my favorite and I probably won't talk about it a lot. It was very okay. Since this is a literary fiction, the people are the plot. The people in this story was crazy. So we follow a young woman named Corday. And the book opens up with her cleaning up the mess of the gentleman that her sister has pressed the delete key on. So Corday is left to clean up her sister's mess. The sister dynamic of the two of them, Corday and Ayola, that was what was most interesting, I think. And also, considering this book is set in Ghana, I believe, there's cultural differences that I think were really interesting to explore in this novel as well. So since Corday is the eldest sister, she is basically like second mom, and her sister Ayola, she is spoiled rotten, and she's a brat, and unfortunately there are physical differences between the sisters too. So Corday is very slender and thin, and I think she probably has more of an athletic build. Ayola, she's very curvy, she's light-skinned compared to her sister, and she's more quote-unquote aesthetically beautiful. The novel brings out that Ayola is very much prettier than her sister Corday, which sucks because the novel really kind of also dives into how the sisters are treated differently. So maybe this is also a little bit of exploring pretty privilege, because Ayola was able to get away with a lot of stuff. And Corday, and being the oldest sister, she herself feels a lot of responsibility for her sister. I do think that part was really interesting, and I wish that I had the correct brain space for this book. I just came to the book with a specific thing that I was looking for, and I did not get that, so I didn't enjoy the book as I wish I would have. However, I do think that it was really good, and I do think that the conversations surrounding this book are really interesting as well. I also think that I would recommend this book to people, and I would tell them off the bat, like, hey, this is not what you think it's going to be. It's more of an exploration on things like pretty privilege, colorism, birth order, things like that. Not so much a slasher kind of book. Also, this book is an incredibly quick read. I read it in about 4 hours. I think it would be a really good beach book, and I don't mean that in like a derogatory sense. Like, I just think that when you're on the beach, you want something that's very quick and easy to read and can kind of like get you through the day. And I think this is a really good book for that. Again, I did not hate it. It's just not what I was expecting. I was a little disappointed by it, but all in all, I rated it 3 stars. Had I known it was literary fiction, I probably would have rated it 3.5 to 4 stars. So the next audiobook I read was You Again by Kate Goldbeck. This book was a flop. This was a romance novel, although the romance I did not care about, and that is a cardinal sin when we're talking about romance books. In the author's defense, this book is based off of When Harry Met Sally, and that is a movie I have not seen yet. I do want to watch it eventually, and I do know it's a lot of people's favorite romance movie. While I do agree that it's probably incredible, I feel like the book made me not want to watch the movie. You know what I mean? It was just so not good. I ended up rating this book 2.75 stars. I was fighting for my life to read this book. I read it in a vlog or two ago, and I'll link it at the top. Dude, this book made me mad. I feel misogynistic because I preferred the male main character over the female lead. To be really honest with you, I didn't really like him that much either, but he was the better character. I felt like he had more development. I felt that our female lead, her name was Ari. Ari felt like she was living her life as a 13-year-old boy. Just like, bro, why are you so horny right now? Relax. Is there anything else that you think about right now? Like anything else? Whereas Josh, our male lead, he had a little bit more depth to him. I feel like his character was developed a little bit more. I feel like his character had a little bit more layers to him. And for Ari, here are Ari's traits. She's a struggling comedian. She's horny. She's bi. And that's it. Like, that's all we know about Ari. And that's all we're kind of given as readers to try and form a connection with her. And like, I just could not form a connection with her. I could not really form a connection with Josh. At the end of the book, I'm like, y'all don't need to be together, but I guess y'all should be together because that's how this book ends. It's a romance book. It just was not good. I did not care about their relationship. I did not care, which is unfortunate because the cover is gorgeous. I love the cover. And I feel like it sucks too because people love When Harry Met Sally. So I feel like if anything, the book should have inspired me to be really excited to watch the movie. But I'm not super excited to watch the movie because if it's going to be like the book, then why would I put myself through that torture again? Do you know what I mean? I was actually talking to my brother about this book. And he was like, oh no, I love that movie. It's really good. He's like, honestly, Harry in that movie isn't super well likable either, but you do understand him and you do get why he is the way that he is at the end. And you are rooting for them as a couple. So he's convinced me to like, just try out the movie. It's probably just a book. So I do want to watch the movie. I just couldn't bring myself to root for this couple in any way. Like they were annoying. And that's all I really have to say about that. It was 2.75 stars. And honestly, that 0.75 was for the end. Not only because, number one, the book was over. The declaration of love at the end was very well done. And I felt a little bit of an emotion. But man, that was a struggle and a half to finish. And it low-key put me in a bit of a book slump too. So I don't think I would recommend that book to anybody. It was not giving. Okay, so my last audiobook for the month of March was All Systems Red by Martha Wells, and this is a novella in the Murderbot Diary series. 5 stars. This book was so good. Very, very short. Because it's short, you immediately are right into action. So this story is about Murderbot, and that's what he calls himself. And he's basically like an AI robot. We're in the future. He is programmed as... I don't really know how to describe what his original role was, but he's a robot. And not only is he a robot, he's a self-aware robot. And he does not like humans. He's just like, they're okay, I guess. And all he really wants to do is sit in his little cubby and watch soap operas and listen to music. Like, that's all he wants to do, which I fear is deeply, deeply relatable. He thinks talking to humans is awkward and exhausting, and he's very introverted. And I know that he wouldn't like humans, but I feel like he would like me, you know? Because why not? I feel like we would get along really well. Is it weird to say Murderbot is my hear me out? Hear me out. I'll move on. I cannot wait to read more of these books. It was super entertaining. Because it's a quick read, it's like it leaves you wanting more. I think the books are genius. I know I've only read one, but I think the series is genius. And it's also going to be a show on Apple TV. And I'm looking forward to watching it. Hopefully it's good. Apple has really good TV shows. I love you, Murderbot, if you're watching. And I know that you are. All right. If the lighting is different, it's because it's literally nighttime. I had to charge my phone, and so it just took a minute. Anyways, let's get into my April picks. So I have a quite large list of books I would like to read this month. There's a very great chance I'm not going to read the majority of them. However, they're still on the list, so I'm going to tell you about them. It's literally 13 books. Delusional. First few books I want to read are the Hunger Games. So basically, I want to get back into the original trilogy. So Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay. And I finally want to read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I've had it a couple of years and I have not read it yet. I'm looking forward to reading it. And I'm someone who liked the movie. So I know a lot of people didn't like the movie, or they like the movie, didn't like the book, or vice versa. Hopefully I like both. I like the idea of learning about a villain, and that is in direct correlation with Sunrise on the Reaping. So I do have an audiobook available for me on my Hoopla app. I really, really want to read that. Also, something very exciting, I have my very first arc, and it is called Good to See You by Bella Pursell, and I'm so excited that I'm able to read this book, that I'm trusted to read this book. I'm filming this on the 4th of April, so I've already gotten into some of these books. I've already started reading that book. I'm about 30% in. I'm absolutely loving that book. Our male lead is giving. He is giving. I'm obsessed with him. I love him so much. I think this is going to be a very highly rated book for me. I'm so excited to continue to read that book. Another book I want to read is This Could Be Us by Candy Ryan. And this, again, is in direct correlation because Can't Get Enough by Candy Ryan, the third book in the Skyland series, is coming out in May. This Could Be Us is Soledad's story. I really enjoyed Before I Let Go when I read that in February. It was one of my top picks of the month, and I'm excited to get into This Could Be Us. I heard it's really good too, so I'm excited for that. The book club with my friends, we're reading The Housemaid's Secret, and everyone else has read the book. I have not read it yet, so I'm very behind on reading that. So thankfully it's on Kindle Unlimited. I don't have to wait for it. I can just go and read it when I'm ready to read it. So that also is on the list for this month. So like I talked about in this video, I read All Systems Red, which is part of the Murderbot Diaries. I'm definitely going to continue the series. The next book is called Artificial Condition, and that is an audiobook as well. So I'm very excited to read that, and that's available through my library's Hoopla as well. Okay, and now I have a few books on hold on my Libby app from my libraries, and I have a feeling they're going to come off hold this month. I don't know why. And in fact, one literally came off hold yesterday, and I had to delay it. Like, I could not start another book. Like, no, there's no way. I have too much stuff I'm trying to read all at the same time right now. So that book that came off hold is Look Closer by David Ellis. This is a thriller. I think I put a hold on this book in like December or something, and it's just not coming off hold. Yeah, it's insane. Another book that I have on hold is Harlem Rhapsody, and that's by Victoria Christopher Murray. I've been hearing some mixed reviews about this book, but I'm excited to read it. I heard that it's more romance leaning versus historical fiction, like it's kind of advertised as. So I think I'm just going to go into it kind of thinking and expecting more romance, and then hopefully I get surprised with actual historical things happening. And then the last book on hold is The Women by Kristin Hannah, another Kristin Hannah book. Yep. And The Women is focused on the Vietnam War. So I'm excited to read that. I've also been on hold for that book for quite a long time as well. So since Look Closer's already come off hold, I have a feeling the rest of these are going to come off hold this month too. I think I'm going to stress myself out trying to read all these books. For audiobooks, I already finished one of these, and that was Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. It was pretty good. It was very weird and interesting and weird. And then the last audiobook, which is what I'm currently listening to, like at the moment, well, not like at this moment, but you know what I mean, is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. And I'm about 18% into that book, and I think I'm liking it. It's basically like if every superhero movie you've ever watched plus The Hunger Games and Divergent into one book. It is a YA fantasy novel, I guess technically. It's 16 hours long, so it's quite a thick one. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm a little confused of what's happening, so hopefully some information will start clicking for me. Overall, I think it's pretty good. All right, so that brings us to the end of the video. These were my March reads, what I'm going to be reading this month in April. I hope you enjoyed the video. The next video that I upload is actually going to be me reading Project Hail Mary, so be looking out for that. I think that's everything. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you're notified every time I upload a new video, and make sure to leave a comment. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a spaceship emoji. I think that fits. And I will catch y'all in my next video. Bye.